Legend says that in ancient Korea, there was a mountain called Onju, home to an abandoned ancestral shrine belonging to the Jang family, cursed with a mysterious blight. Since then, anyone who approaches meets a mysterious end, leaving the place uninhabited and untouched. Though the Jang family still exists in Korea, the ancient curse continues to haunt each generation. Cut to the present, a court hearing addresses a series of workplace accidents at Haum Corporation. A woman accuses the company of negligence and inadequate safety measures, leading to her husband's death. Haum Corporation's defense lawyer is Jang Shin-yu. Investigating the accident, Shin-yu reveals the truth. The grieving widow, struggling financially to pay for her son's leukemia treatment, intentionally caused the accident to secure compensation. Overwhelmed by Shin-yu's compelling evidence, the woman breaks down and confesses. Meanwhile, at the ancient shrine on Onju Mountain, a young man livestreams his exploration, only to flee in terror after witnessing strange occurrences. He slips, falls onto a large piece of metal, and ends the stream. At Onju Corporation, Hongjo starts a new job, feeling tense around her team leader, whom she previously reported for misconduct. He subtly reminds her of this past incident. Her colleagues are equally unfriendly and distant. During lunch, Hongjo meets Yi Jong and feels an immediate connection. Xingyu is plagued by a curse, repeatedly seeing a bloody hand caress his face. The next day, public fear surrounding the ancient shrine prompts demands for its demolition and relocation. No one at the office dares to handle the task. Seeking to impress her colleagues, new employee Hongjo volunteers. That night, Hongjo and a colleague drive to Onju Mountain. Frightened, the colleague stops far from the shrine, urging Hongjo to go alone. Inside, a terrifying voice startles Hongjo. She presses on, catching a glimpse of a face before tripping and falling unconscious. The person Hongjo sees is Shin-yu. Waking up, she believes she's in the afterlife and that Shin-yu is the Grim Reaper. Seeing she's unharmed, Shin-yu takes photos of her before coldly leaving. The next day, Hongjo reports the incident to her team leader, only to learn the shrine is privately owned and cannot be relocated. Frustrated, her boss orders her to find a solution regardless. She seeks information about the shrine's owner, eventually arriving at a company. In the elevator, she's startled to see Shin-yu again, initially mistaking him for the Reaper. She later confronts him about leaving her unconscious at the haunted shrine, criticizing his cold indifference. Shin-yu calmly replies that he owes no kindness to trespassers on his property. Hongjo is further frustrated when she learns Shin-yu has no intention of demolishing the shrine. She leaves, feeling deeply resentful. Leaving the company, Hongjo unexpectedly encounters her dream lover, Yi Jong, exiting his car. A protester rushes toward Yi Jong, intending to throw water in his face. Hongjo quickly intervenes, shielding him. Embarrassed, she tells Yi Jong she was just passing by before hurrying back to the office. Yi Jong is bewildered by her actions. Later, they meet again in the elevator. Hongjo's cheeks flush with embarrassment. Yi Jong asks why she did that, adding, "What if that water had been acid? I've been worried all day." Hongjo blushes even deeper, explaining she knows the protesters from her old office and knew they wouldn't actually hurt him. The next day, Shin-yu is surprised to find Hongjo in his office. Instead of her usual frustration, she's now sweetly trying to persuade him to demolish the shrine. He refuses, stating he wants to restore it instead. Intrigued by her persistence, he asks why she's so determined. Hongjo confesses her loneliness, tearfully explaining that she's doing all this to gain acceptance from her colleagues. Since starting the job, she's eaten lunch alone outside the cafeteria, fearing that eating alone inside would highlight her isolation. Touched, Shin-yu gives her a piece of paper with an address. He says if she can convince Mrs. Jang at that address, he'll agree to demolish the shrine. Hongjo joyfully takes the paper. After meeting Mrs. Jang, she calls Shin-yu to say Mrs. Jang agreed to the demolition. Surprised, Shin-yu rushes to meet Mrs. Jang. He asks why she changed her mind. Mrs. Jang solemnly replies that the owner of the wooden box and the bloody hand appeared, and only then could everything end. Back at the company, Hongjo learns her colleagues are celebrating the shrine's demolition. She calls to join the celebration, but is once again snubbed and avoided. Outside the office, she sees her colleagues happily leaving, and her sadness overwhelms her. She cries, realizing she ultimately means nothing to them. Witnessing Hongzhou's distress, Xin Yu approaches, but she wants him to leave, unwilling for him to see her in such a vulnerable state. Xin Yu says he wants to return something that once belonged to her. Intrigued, Hongzhou follows him. Seeing the wooden box, she hesitates and refuses to take it. Reluctantly, Xin Yu hands it to her and drives away. At home, Hongzhou tries to open the box, but it remains stubbornly shut. The next day, Yi Zhong reports to the assemblyman about the company's continuous losses to Halm Corporation in court. He proposes hiring a talented lawyer instead of relying on less capable officials. The assemblyman agrees. Yi Zhong then visits Xin Yu's office, offering him a position at the assembly. Xin Yu declines, knowing the job would involve mundane tasks like advising officials and assisting with minor cases unsuitable for his personality. Yi Zhong counters that he'll be dealing with major corporations evading tens of billions in taxes right up Xin Yu's alley. Xin Yu asks if Halm Corporation is among them. Yi Zhong confirms it is, then departs. That evening, while changing a light bulb, Hongzhou falls from a chair. Alone in her room, she cries. Suddenly, the wooden box opens, revealing an old book. She discovers it's an ancient book of charms. The next day at work, she bumps into Xin Yu. Surprised, she asks what he's doing there. He replies he'll be working there now. When asked about the box, Hongzhou says it opened by itself and only contained a book. Xin Yu, looking serious, questions her about the book's contents. Yi Zhong arrives, and to avoid misunderstandings, Hongzhou explains she knows Xin Yu because he owns the land where the shrine is located. After work, Xin Yu asks to see the book at Hongzhou's apartment. He finds a healing charm and, revealing a serious illness that may be terminal, earnestly asks Hongzhou to help him create a charm for himself. Seeing his sincerity, she agrees. The next day, Yi Zhong gives Hongzhou a dress. Seeing her blush, he remarks that she always blushes when they meet. Hongzhou replies that she only blushes around people she likes. Realizing this sounds like a confession, she declares her feelings for Yi Zhong. Surprised, Yi Zhong thanks her but politely declines her confession. At home, she receives a package from her grandparents containing goat's milk. She remembers a love charm in the book and realizes tonight's full moon is ideal for the ritual. Hongzhou prepares an offering and begins her first charm. Simultaneously, Xin Yu is driving when a bloody hand appears, distracting him and causing an accident. The next morning, Hongzhou sneaks into the meeting room, slips the love potion into Yi Zhong's cup, and secretly leaves. To ensure Yi Zhong drinks it, she watches from outside. Suddenly, her team leader calls, informing her that the hanging flower baskets outside have been vandalized, forcing her to leave immediately. She finds the newly planted flowers destroyed and angrily goes to Xin Yu for help in finding the culprit. To her dismay, she discovers Xin Yu is responsible. After work, Xin Yu takes Hongzhou to his secluded villa to perform the charm. As she prepares, Xin Yu approaches, experiencing an unfamiliar flutter of emotion toward her. During the ritual, Hongzhou writes the character for life on Xin Yu's palm. He feels his heart race and a strange excitement. The character gradually fades. The next morning, as they prepare to leave the villa, Hongzhou receives a call from Yi Zhong, arranging a date. Watching her cheerful conversation, Xin Yu feels a pang of jealousy. Hongzhou happily assumes the love potion is working, while Xin Yu grows increasingly uncomfortable. At home, Xin Yu lies awake, tormented by thoughts of Hongzhou and Yi Zhong's date. Meanwhile, Na Yon, Xin Yu's girlfriend, visits his home, heartbroken over their breakup. The next day, the mayor invites Xin Yu to dinner, but he refuses, rushing instead to Yi Zhong and Hongzhou's meeting place. Watching them laugh and joke, he's consumed with anger, intending to disrupt their date. However, he notices something strange about his own recent behavior. Remembering the cup at the meeting, he races back to the office. Reviewing security footage, he discovers he accidentally drank the potion meant for Yi Zhong. He immediately goes to Hongzhou's house. After waiting, he sees her returning home. With a troubled expression, he bluntly asks what Yi Zhong said to her. Hongzhou hesitates, unwilling to share this with him, and tries to enter her apartment. Xin Yu, however, declares, "I like you," leaving Hongzhou speechless and stunned by his unexpected confession. Before Hongzhou could compose herself, Xin Yu recounts the incident with the drink intended for Yi Zhong, revealing he was the one who consumed it. Hongjo is disbelieving until Shin Yu shows her a video recording of him drinking the potion. Overwhelmed and worried the love potion is working, she's further flustered by Shin Yu's recent unusual behavior toward her. The next day, Shin Yu unexpectedly appears at Hongjo's office, feigning an apology for damaging a flower bed as an excuse to see her. With their supervisor present, Shin Yu complains about being bullied within the team. This worries the other employees, but Hongjo is annoyed by Shin Yu's actions, fearing it will make her even more disliked. Shin Yu, however, seems smug, believing he's alleviated some of her pressure. Back at his office, Shin Yu constantly thinks about Hongjo. Seeing her moving boxes into the office, he rushes down to help, only making a bigger mess, leaving Hongjo exasperated. Na-yeon witnesses this scene from her car. Hongjo visits the park to check the flower planting progress. The gardener returns a water bottle she left behind. She notices his unusual behavior towards her and worries about the forgotten bottle. That evening, Hongjo and Shin Yu visit Mrs. Jang. Hongjo anxiously asks about the charm's effectiveness. Shin Yu bluntly replies, "Don't you see it already?" But she ignores him and looks at Mrs. Jang. Seeing their dynamic, Mrs. Jang decides to meet with them individually. In private, Shin Yu explains his experiences since drinking the potion and seeks a solution. Mrs. Jang replies he has no control. It depends on the owner of the wooden box. Hongjo then meets Mrs. Jang, questioning why she gave her the box. Mrs. Jang smiles enigmatically, "Because you are the chosen one." Returning home, Hongjo sees a man in black entering her house. Terrified, she hides, but it's Yi Jong, who's renting the downstairs apartment. Relieved, she's overjoyed. The next day, dressed up and happy, she goes to Yi Jong's apartment. However, Shin Yu is waiting outside, asking her to break the charm because he dreams of her every night. Annoyed, Hongjo uses a date as an excuse to get rid of him. Fueled by jealousy, he leaves his car and follows her onto a bus. Thinking they are going on a date, Shin Yu is surprised to see Hongjo go to a beach, a place where she visits to mourn her deceased father. Unbeknownst to Shin Yu, she sits alone, weeping silently. That evening, Hongjo and Shin Yu went out to dinner. Hongjo revealed that it was her father's death anniversary, causing Shin Yu to feel somber. He comforted her. When ordering, the waiter was surprised by the large number of dishes, but Shin Yu explained he ordered for 3 people, impressing Hongjo with his thoughtful gesture. After dinner, slightly tipsy, Hongjo went to the beach and spoke to her father about her work, expressing her intention to introduce her boyfriend. However, Shin Yu, who was not her boyfriend, appeared and declared he was her destiny, claiming he'd found proof their fates were intertwined. Hongjo, still deeply attached to Yi Jong, firmly rejected him. Back home, Shin Yu, convinced of fate, mentioned his girlfriend, Na-yeon, a seemingly perfect woman, questioning why he was attracted to Hongjo instead. Hongjo, feeling hurt and misunderstood, left. Alone in her room, she recalled Na-yeon's high school cruelty, her insidious nature masked by a saintly facade and prejudice against those of lower social standing. Hongjo wrestled with the decision of whether to tell Shin Yu about Na-yeon. The next day, Hongjo visited a garden center to buy plants. While gardening, Yi Jong returned from work. Seeing her efforts, he offered to help, but Hongjo wanted to do it herself to celebrate with her neighbors. Yi Jong invited her to a housewarming party. Overjoyed, Hongjo rushed upstairs to change into a beautiful outfit. She enjoyed a blissful evening with Yi Jong until a call from Shin Yu interrupted. Frustrated by her unanswered calls, he heard a man's voice in the background, sparking jealousy. He interrogated Hongjo about who she was with, but she hung up, leaving him furious. The following day, Shin Yu's numerous calls and texts went unanswered. Dejected, he went drinking with a friend. Intoxicated, he went to Hongjo's apartment. Finding her, she worriedly bought him hangover medicine. He grabbed her hand, wanting her to stay. Yi Jong unexpectedly returned home, witnessing the scene. Confused, he questioned Shin Yu's presence. Shin Yu, in turn, asked Yi Jong about his residence, learning he lived on the first floor. This upset Shin Yu, as Hongjo had previously mentioned her destiny resided on the first floor. Yi Jong, aware of Shin Yu's girlfriend, angrily demanded he leave, but Shin Yu, confessing his feelings for Hongjo, refused. The situation escalated. To defuse the tension, Hongjo drove Shin Yu home, leaving Yi Jong watching coldly. In the car, Shin Yu reiterated their destined union, lamenting her choice of another man. Hongzhou countered that pursuing her own path wasn't wrong, questioning the authenticity of his feelings. Later, in the park, Shin Yu questioned Yi Zhong's appeal. Hongzhou stammered that she found them similar, but Shin Yu disagreed, highlighting their contrasting personalities, his perfectionism versus her clumsiness. He pressed her on whether she'd ever felt anything for him. Hongzhou's blushing denial betrayed her, and Shin Yu knew she was lying. Waking up, Shin Yu discovered he was completely naked, leading him to believe he and Hongzhou had slept together. He confronted her the next morning, noticing her awkward response further fueling his suspicions. The following day, Yi Zhong ran into Hongzhou during her lunch break and invited her to join him. He confessed to a sleepless night worrying about her. Hongzhou quickly explained they had no relationship and that she would resolve everything on the full moon. She also thanked him for the flower basket left at her door. He suggested it might have been from Shin Yu, adding that she should throw it away unless she had feelings for the sender. Knowing Yi Zhong had previously lunched with the councilman, Hongzhou was overjoyed to realize he was there for her. Returning home, Hongzhou discovered her missing pajamas, which she'd left out to dry. While searching, Shin Yu called, prompting her to ask him about the flowers, but he denied sending them. Later, Yi Zhong went to Shin Yu's office, demanding he stop bothering Hongzhou. Shin Yu coldly agreed. That night, the full moon arrived, and Hongzhou prepared to break the curse. She hesitated, remembering almost kissing Shin Yu in the park, and her feelings for him. At home, however, Shin Yu revealed he didn't want to break the curse, admitting he'd never felt this way about anyone before, never staying up all night or feeling this sadness for a woman. It seemed Hongzhou's feelings were reciprocated, yet the ritual still proceeded, their lingering emotions unspoken. The next morning, Yi Zhong drove Hongzhou to work. She cheerfully announced her quick and clean break with Shin Yu. Relieved, Yi Zhong invited her out on Sunday, and she happily accepted. Unexpectedly, Hongzhou encountered the garden center owner waiting for her after work. He presented her with flowers and an invitation to dinner. Learning he'd sent the flowers and had also drunk the charm potion she'd left in the park, she felt uneasy, especially considering his persistence. She declined his dinner invitation, but he insisted on discussing work, hoping to stay near her. Just then, Shin Yu arrived, rescuing her from the situation. The garden owner reluctantly watched them leave. On the way home, Shin Yu expressed concern about the owner also having drunk the potion. He showed Hongzhou the charm, revealing her error in crafting it, making it impossible to recreate. Hongzhou was surprised, and Shin Yu scolded her for her mistake, especially at that crucial moment. She admitted to feeling flustered whenever he looked at her, explaining her error. As they awkwardly stared at each other, Yi Zhong arrived, furious at Shin Yu's breach of their agreement and Hongzhou's statement that they were finished. Shin Yu retorted that it wasn't over because he loved her. Hongzhou was equally surprised by Shin Yu's confession, while Yi Zhong's anger intensified at the spectacle of Shin Yu's declaration of love. Seeing the situation escalating, Hongzhou attempted to explain to Yi Zhong, but Shin Yu worried about the consequences. He was distraught and despondent when Yi Zhong heard Hongzhou's explanation about the love charm. Feeling helpless as Hongzhou sided with Shin Yu, they struggled to make Yi Zhong believe them. To prove her point, Hongzhou decided to demonstrate a different charm. Entering Yi Zhong's apartment, Shin Yu noticed the staircase leading to the second floor and checked if it was accessible, relieved to find it locked. He then suggested, under the guise of incompatibility, that Yi Zhong move elsewhere. However, Yi Zhong was perfectly content with his apartment, refusing to be swayed by Shin Yu's various excuses. Meanwhile, Hongzhou was alone in her room working on a charm when the lights suddenly went out, signaling its completion. Shin Yu rushed upstairs, followed closely by Yi Zhong, both simultaneously trying to enter Hongzhou's room, creating a comical deadlock at the doorway. Hongzhou found their actions strange. Inside, she explained she had used a beauty charm. Shin Yu claimed it worked, noticing her enhanced beauty, while Yi Zhong saw no difference, leading to another argument about the charm's efficacy. Afterward, Yi Zhong texted Hongzhou, inviting her to the rooftop for beers. He expressed happiness at learning she'd intended to use the love charm on him. Hongzhou blushed, awkwardly claiming she'd only done it for fun, but he understood her feelings, finding it heartwarming. Yi Zhong curiously asked about her belief in charms, prompting a thoughtful response from Hongzhou. She admitted Shin Yu's initial behavior had been overbearing, but that he seemed to have recently changed significantly. On her way home, Shin Yu spotted the garden center owner and, feeling uneasy, called Hongzhou. However, Yi Zhong answered, and despite his anger, relayed Shin Yu's message for Hongzhou to lock her doors carefully, having seen the owner nearby. The next day, Shin Yu consulted a doctor about his condition, wondering if his left brain damage could be causing emotional disturbances, as he felt inexplicably attracted to someone and experienced vivid dreamlike sensations. The doctor suggested that hyperempathy might be causing his brain to overreact. Later, Hongzhou encountered a sudden downpour while working outside. The garden center owner appeared, offering her his umbrella. Feeling uncomfortable and somewhat threatened by his touch, she nervously accepted. From a distance, an older gentleman intervened, offering her his umbrella to escape the situation. Meanwhile, believing Shin Yu was in his office, Na-yeon entered, wanting to ask him out. Discovering her mistake, the assistant realized they were having an office romance. News of Na-yeon and Shin Yu's relationship spread among their colleagues, causing Hongzhou some distress when she overheard their gossip. The next day, after learning about Hongzhou's harassment, Shin Yu confronted the garden center owner, but he showed no fear. At the company cafeteria, gossip about Na-yeon and Shin Yu continued, with Hongzhou present, her sadness evident. Shin Yu's arrival drew everyone's attention. Aware of the whispers, he merely glanced at Hongzhou before leaving. The company organized an environmental protection event, creating a lively and enthusiastic atmosphere. Shin Yu's assistant commented on how well Hongzhou and Yi Zhong looked together, but Shin Yu, burdened by his feelings, ignored him. That evening, colleagues invited Hongzhou for drinks. One friend asked if her heart raced around Shin Yu. Hongzhou initially denied it, but her blushing face betrayed her. After the drinks, everyone left except a tipsy Hongzhou. Shin Yu found her and offered help. Unable to find her phone, she asked him to call her number. She revealed she'd saved his number as Groot because she liked the character, implying her affection for him. She then checked how he'd saved her number, feeling a pang of sadness that he hadn't saved her name. Dejected, she left, Shin Yu watching her go. Unaware of their breakup, Shin Yu's parents set a wedding date for him and Na-yeon, with Na-yeon agreeing to the date. Shin Yu felt uncomfortable and resentful at their lack of consultation. Yi Zhong and Hongzhou went on a picnic. He asked how she felt about him, and she replied that he made her feel comfortable. However, Yi Zhong hinted he wanted her to feel more anxious around him, disappointed by her lack of blushing. Hongzhou felt awkward. Meanwhile, Shin Yu was uneasy about his parents' knowledge of Hongzhou. Noticing the tension and Na-yeon's strained expression, Na-yeon received a text and asked Shin Yu to talk privately, demanding an explanation for photos of him and Hongzhou. Shin Yu, curious about the sender, received no answer. Enraged by Shin Yu's breakup, Na-yeon confronted Hongzhou, slapping her unexpectedly. Still furious, Na-yeon later slept with the director. Hongzhou, enraged by the assault, brought Shin Yu a box and dress to return, angry that he hadn't explained things to Na-yeon. Shin Yu confessed his true feelings for her, and in response to her anger, he pulled her close and kissed her. Hongzhou closed her eyes and reciprocated. Realizing she'd gone too far, Hongzhou pushed Shin Yu away, wanting to end things. To clear up the mess, she arranged to meet Na-yeon at a cafe to explain everything. On her way home from work, Yi Zhong offered Hongzhou a ride, noticing her sadness. He inquired about her and Shin Yu, and her dismissive response only increased his concern. The next day, Shin Yu visited Mrs. Jiang. Discussing the box, she suggested he return it to Hongzhou. Seeing Shin Yu's reluctance to continue their tumultuous relationship, she advised him to leave it where he originally found it. They went to Anju Mountain, where Hongzhou tripped and fell, breaking the box and revealing a cursed charm book. A voodoo doll hung from a tree, its clothes eerily similar to Hongzhou's missing outfit, with Shin Yu's name pinned to its chest. Feeling anxious, Shin Yu and Hongzhou bought pepper spray, initially intended as self-defense for Shin Yu, but Hongzhou felt comforted by his concern for her safety. He reminded her to change her door lock and scolded her for leaving her window unlocked, insisting she install security bars. Hongzhou was touched by his protectiveness. The following day, Shin Yu took Hongzhou out to eat. They discussed the voodoo doll, with Hongzhou suspecting the garden center owner and Xin Yu considering Yi Zhong as a possibility. Learning she'd been eating alone at the office, Xin Yu was relieved to hear her colleagues were no longer ostracizing her. They went to an amusement park, where Xin Yu confessed his initial belief that his feelings for her stemmed from the love charm, but that it clearly hadn't worked. This caused Hongzhou to hesitate, but she firmly stated she didn't want to steal someone else's boyfriend and that they should maintain a professional, non-romantic relationship. Xin Yu, unsure of what to do, silently watched her. He drove her home, sadly watching her enter her apartment. Yi Zhong, returning home, encountered Xin Yu, causing a tense atmosphere. Yi Zhong questioned Xin Yu's presence and his recent whereabouts, as he hadn't been home. Yi Zhong explained that he was with the mayor, easing Xin Yu's concerns about the garden center owner. Xin Yu later confronted the owner about the straw he'd used, but the man simply laughed and left. That night, Xin Yu's illness suddenly flared up, requiring hospitalization. His parents were extremely worried. Having not seen Hongzhou all day, Xin Yu went upstairs to look for her. He stood outside her door, calling her name and her phone, but she didn't answer. Yi Zhong had a bad feeling. After a while, Hongzhou came out. Noticing her pale complexion, Yi Zhong guessed she was sick and hurried to buy her medicine. Seeing the sleeping pills Yi Zhong bought, Hongzhou felt a bit uneasy, remembering Xin Yu mentioning that Yi Zhong could be the one who stole the pajamas recently. After inquiring about the situation and learning he had been with the village head, she felt less worried. Yi Zhong also mentioned Xin Yu's sick leave. Hongzhou asked if he knew the reason, but Yi Zhong didn't. The next day at work, Hongzhou texted Xin Yu to check on him, but received no reply. Suddenly, she heard a notification sound. Thinking it was from Xin Yu, she eagerly opened her phone, only to be slightly disappointed to see it was from Yi Zhong. At the hospital, Xin Yu had finally woken up after several days of unconsciousness. His parents were relieved. From morning till night, Hongzhou sent numerous messages to Xin Yu, but still received no response. She felt incredibly frustrated. Holding his phone, Xin Yu read Hongzhou's caring messages, feeling warmth spread through him. Learning where Xin Yu was hospitalized, Hongzhou rushed to visit. Seeing him emerge from the doorway, a mix of emotions overwhelmed her. Aware of her concern, Xin Yu teased her, making her flustered. As they were talking happily, a stranger watched them from afar. Back home, Hongzhou opened the cursed book and read it. She noticed a passage mentioning the straw doll she had encountered on Mount Anju. Worried that someone was trying to harm her, she immediately went to see Mrs. Zhang. Mrs. Zhang looked at the picture Hongzhou had taken of the doll and seemed disturbed. Fearing for Hongzhou's safety, she went home and performed a ritual to dispel the curse. Meanwhile, Na Yon met with the gardener and gave him one of Xin Yu's shirts. They began to collaborate. That evening, there was a fireworks festival in Anju. Hongzhou attended, feeling a lonely sadness amidst the cheerful crowd. Suddenly, she saw Xin Yu's figure appear. Her heart pounded. They looked at each other and slowly approached. The moment Hongzhou had been waiting for had arrived. Unable to hide her emotions, her face flushed with happiness. Xin Yu quickly embraced her tightly, and Hongzhou, without resistance, accepted his affection. Overwhelmed by sadness, Na Yon went to see her lover at a bar. Afterward, she went to see Xin Yu, anticipating a pleasant outing. However, Xin Yu wanted to end their relationship. Once again, Na Yon refused to accept it. In the dining room, Hongzhou saw Na Yon with Xin Yu, a mix of emotions swirling within her. Seeing Xin Yu's girlfriend there, the curious assistant asked how they met. Na Yon readily replied that she was the one who initiated the relationship. Na Yon then offered to introduce a friend to Yi Zhong. Yi Zhong declined, saying he already had someone he liked. Slightly annoyed, Xin Yu provocatively remarked that Yi Zhong wouldn't succeed with that person. Yi Zhong, not to be outdone, confidently replied that he only needed to meet the person, and they would like him without him having to try. The atmosphere in the dining room became thick with tension. Inside his office, Xin Yu told Na Yon not to flaunt their relationship in front of the company. Na Yon understood that he was upset because he was worried about Hongzhou's feelings. Furious, Na Yon called Hongzhou and arranged to meet her at a bar. At the bar, Na Yon demanded Hongzhou stay away from Xin Yu, claiming that his parents wanted them to get married and that they had been dating for 2 years and had been through a lot together. However, Hongzhou's expression remained unchanged, as she knew Na Yon's character well. Seeing Na Yon's intoxication, Hongzhou urged her to go home, but Na Yon taunted her, asking if she was curious whether Xin Yu would come to pick her up if he knew she was there. Wanting an answer herself, Hongzhou called Xin Yu to pick up Na Yon. However, upon seeing Xin Yu arrive, a wave of disappointment washed over her, and she left. Noticing her angry departure, Xin Yu followed, curious about their conversation. Hongzhou, however, refused to tell him anything. Back home, Hongzhou tossed and turned, unable to sleep, the night's events replaying in her mind. Xin Yu waited for Na Yon to sober up and told her not to contact Hongzhou again. Na Yon coldly left. The next morning, Xin Yu saw Hongzhou and Yi Zhong arriving at work together. Jealousy surged through him. He called Hongzhou to his office. As she entered, he expressed his displeasure at her sharing a ride with Yi Zhong, saying that people would mistake them for a couple. Still upset about the previous night, Hongzhou brought up Xin Yu taking Na Yon home, saying she had witnessed it many times and had to endure it. Today, Hongzhou was determined to vent her pent-up frustrations. Seeing her sullen expression, Xin Yu approached her. Noticing a dangerous glint in his eyes, Hongzhou quickly sat down. He leaned in to kiss her, just as his assistant entered. Both were flustered, unsure how to react. Hongzhou, blushing furiously, rushed out. That evening, Yi Zhong asked Hongzhou to accompany him to an appointment. However, it was merely a pretext for a confession. Seeing her growing affection for Xin Yu, and fearing he was too late, he confessed his feelings for her. Meanwhile, after sobering up, Na Yon went to see the gardener. She gave him a pair of gloves Hongzhou had left behind at the bar. As she left, she reminded him to take care of things quickly. The gardener wrapped Xin Yu's shirt and the gloves together, dripped his own blood onto them, and hid them in a potted plant. The next morning, Na Yon went to her father's office and asked him to transfer Hongzhou to another department. He summoned Yi Zhong to address the matter. Furious, Yi Zhong went to Xin Yu's office to confront him. Upon hearing the news, Xin Yu rushed out and, spotting Hongzhou in the hallway, grabbed her hand and led her away in full view of their colleagues. Hongzhou asked him to let go, worried about gossip, but Xin Yu insisted that it no longer mattered. At the beach, Xin Yu explained everything to Hongzhou. He told her that the entire city hall knew about his relationship with Na Yon, and if they broke up, she would lose face. Therefore, he had agreed to maintain a fake relationship with her, partly to protect Hongzhou from potential repercussions at work. Touched by Xin Yu's sincerity, Hongzhou felt a warmth spread through her, though she was still concerned about office gossip. Xin Yu, however, was determined to face it with her, regardless of what others thought. Overwhelmed by a mix of emotions, but moved by his genuine words, Hongzhou agreed to move forward with him. All the barriers within her seemed to crumble, and they shared a heartfelt kiss. But as Hongzhou touched Xin Yu's cheek, a vision of a bloody arm flashed before her eyes. Uneasy, he pulled back. Alarmed, Hongzhou stared at him in shock. Noticing Xin Yu seemed slightly unwell, she worriedly approached him. To avoid concerning her, he said he only had a slight headache, then steered the conversation towards praying for Hongzhou's peace of mind, fearing their time together might be short. Xin Yu embraced her, cherishing their precious moments. At the office, Xin Yu and Hongzhou spent the entire day together. Their assistant later gossiped with Yi Zhong, who regretted informing Xin Yu about Hongzhou's situation. He wished he'd handled it himself to prevent this. Visiting Hongzhou's office, he accidentally ran into Na Yon and discovered she was behind Hongzhou's transfer. Yi Zhong felt irritated, especially since it inadvertently brought the couple closer. Na Yon bluntly stated that doing something was better than doing nothing. Yi Zhong responded coldly, "If you're going to do something, do it thoroughly, before leaving." Meanwhile, Xin Yu and Hongzhou checked into a hotel. Feeling uneasy, Xin Yu went to the bathroom, where a ghostly vision of a bloody hand reappeared. Hongzhou, worried about him, went to Xin Yu's room and was startled when he emerged. That night was their happiest, spent together. The next morning, they joyfully greeted the sunrise, only to encounter Yi Zhong, who witnessed their romantic moment. Back at their room, Xin Yu wanted to impress Yi Zhong and Hongzhou by cooking, but he clearly lacked experience. While preparing the meal, he witnessed Yi Zhong and Hongzhou laughing together, sparking his jealousy. He feigned incompetence, prompting Yi Zhong to help, thus disrupting their intimacy. The extra display of affection between them was too much for Yi Jong to bear. The next day at work, Shin Yu found a flower arrangement in his office. Discovering from his assistant that it was a gift from Na-yeon, Hong-jo submitted a report to her manager, expecting reprimand, but instead received kind words from her colleagues, easing her worries. That evening, colleagues invited Hong-jo to dinner to learn about her relationship. Knowing she was there, Shin Yu brought his assistant along to ease the situation. After a hearty meal, they went karaoke. Shin Yu was initially mortified by his colleagues' off-key singing, but when his turn came, he revealed his surprising vocal talent. Hong-jo was overjoyed by the romantic lyrics of his song. As he drove her home, she kissed him. Upon entering, they found Yi Jong already intoxicated. In his drunken state, Yi Jong openly confessed his feelings about their relationship. Hong-jo was flustered by his words. The next morning, Hong-jo encountered a sheepish Yi Jong leaving his room, avoiding her because of the previous night's events. Understanding his embarrassment, she reassured him, encouraging him to be comfortable around her. Yi Jong, unable to hide his feelings, asked her to consider his affections. At the office, rumors about Hong-jo spread after a stranger posted intimate photos of her with Shin Yu and another with Yi Jong. Hong-jo confronted Na-yeon, suspecting sabotage, but Na-yeon denied involvement. Shin Yu, upon learning about the photos, messaged Hong-jo, reassuring her. The park's owner then sought out Shin Yu, ostensibly about being removed from a bidding list, but actually to taunt him, mentioning his missing wife. Shin Yu referenced the wife, prompting a cold response from the owner. During park renovations, workers discovered a body buried beneath a tree. Shin Yu, suspecting it to be the park owner's missing wife, immediately went to the scene and called Hong-jo, who was at a nearby location investigating a large hole dug by an unknown person. Suddenly, the park owner attacked Hong-jo from behind, knocking her unconscious. While digging a grave for Hong-jo, the orchard owner received a call from Shin Yu requesting a meeting, forcing him to stop and return home. During her unconscious state, Hong-jo dreamt of fragmented memories from a past life. Upon waking, she found herself in a deep hole, completely alone. Terrified, she called Shin Yu. Receiving her call, he frantically searched and thankfully found her. As Shin Yu pulled her out, sudden flashes of past memories, eerily similar to the current situation, overwhelmed her, leaving her shaken. Back home, she pondered the dream, wondering about it, especially since Shin Yu had previously mentioned knowing her from a past life. She told Shin Yu about the dream, but he evaded the topic, afraid of her discovering the truth. Yi Jong arrived home from work and saw Shin Yu's car parked outside. Noticing Hong-jo's lights were off, he realized Shin Yu was spending the night with her. The whole company was buzzing about the body found in the park, and the rumor mill intensified when they learned Shin Yu suspected the orchard owner's involvement. Overhearing this, Hong-jo became worried. She went to a convenience store to view security footage from near the scene of her incident and coincidentally spotted the orchard owner nearby. She took a taxi to the orchard to confront him, but he wasn't there. Shin Yu arrived later, angry that she had lied about falling into the hole and had gone to the orchard alone, despite suspecting the owner. Knowing he was worried about her, Hong-jo softened her tone, acting affectionately to calm him down, and they left together. Meanwhile, the orchard owner watched their every move through his security cameras. As his workday ended, Shin Yu texted Hong-jo to ask her out to dinner. She postponed, claiming she had to work overtime. Concerned about her exhaustion, he went to her office to help. Entering the stairwell, he was again confronted with the bloody hand hallucination. Unable to reach him by phone, Hong-jo went looking for him and was horrified to find him unconscious in the stairwell. She rushed him to the hospital. Seeing him awake eased her anxiety. Not wanting her to worry, Shin Yu urged her to go home. Understanding his concern, Hong-jo obediently left. After recovering, Shin Yu went to his office and was surprised to find Hong-jo waiting for him inside. Overjoyed at his recovery, she embraced him and kissed him passionately. Their intimate moment was interrupted by the sudden arrival of his assistant, who was once again stunned by the scene. Embarrassed, Hong-jo quickly excused herself. The mayor arranged a dinner meeting with Shin Yu and his father. He got straight to the point about Shin Yu's marriage to Na-yeon. Shin Yu's father also urged him to agree to the union. The mayor applied further pressure, mentioning his father's ongoing contract negotiations with Anju, which might be jeopardized if he refused. Shin Yu excused himself to supposedly sort out his feelings. Assuming he had agreed to the marriage, the mayor and his father celebrated. Overwhelmed by the pressure of marrying Na-yeon, Shin Yu arranged a meeting with her and, unbeknownst to her, her one-night stand partner. Na-yeon feigned ignorance, but Shin Yu had undeniable proof of their affair and its timeline. Defeated, Na-yeon watched him leave. Learning that Hongjo was out drinking with colleagues, he rushed to pick her up and take her to his place to care for her. Waking up to find Shin Yu beside her, Hongjo placed her hand on his cheek, triggering a flashback to a shared moment in their past life. The following morning, they visited the mountain from her dream. Touching Shin Yu's face, Hongjo suddenly saw a vision of him murdering her in their past life. She had cursed him before dying, and the curse continued to haunt Shin Yu in their present life. Hongjo went to see Mrs. Jang and told her the story. Mrs. Jang said they might both be better off not seeing each other, but they couldn't defy their destined fate. Yi Jong went to Shin Yu's office to inform him that his father's company's contract had been cancelled. Shin Yu was somewhat angry that Yi Jong was siding with the mayor, helping him out of personal spite. Yi Jong coldly replied that he was only doing his job. Meanwhile, Hongjo was struggling to deal with two of her female co-workers. Learning that Yi Jong currently didn't have a girlfriend and was living with Hongjo, they schemed to have a housewarming party at her place. Having no other choice, Hongjo agreed. At the dinner table, Shin Yu's father brought up his son's relationship. He wanted him to break up with his girlfriend because Hongjo was affecting his business. However, Yi Jong didn't hesitate to reply that he would bring Hongjo home to meet his parents next time. Shin Yu went to Hongjo's house and gave her a gift, but she didn't accept it. Furthermore, she returned the gift he had previously given her. She wanted them to separate for a while so that he could recover his health. She placed the box in his hand and resolutely left. The next day, they met at the company, only looking at each other without saying a word, their hearts filled with remorse and discomfort. But they had to suppress their feelings. Na-yeon went to see Shin Yu in his office, her voice full of challenge, wanting to see how he would protect Hongjo. Shin Yu didn't hesitate to reply that if she did anything, she should think about her father, because the mayor would have a lot to lose. However, Na-yeon remained indifferent and undeterred by his words. That evening, the two female co-workers came to Hongjo's house for the housewarming party. Upon entering the yard, they intentionally made a lot of noise to get Yi Jong's attention. When he didn't come out, one of them knocked on the door. Yi Jong appeared, and the group joyfully invited him to the party. Glancing at a seemingly embarrassed Hongjo, he guessed his co-worker's scheme and agreed. During the meal, the strange behavior of her friends made Hongjo extremely uncomfortable. Yi Jong sat, listening to their exaggerated praises of him, only wanting to leave quickly. Lately, Hongjo had been intentionally avoiding him, so Shin Yu invited his close friend to a bar to unwind. Missing Hongjo intensely, he asked his friend to drive him to her house. Despite her worry for him, she tried to appear cold so that Shin Yu could have a peaceful life. Watching her leave, his heart seemed to shatter, while Hongjo sobbed in anguish. Seeing Hongjo like this, Yi Jong approached her and asked if she was okay. To relieve her sadness, she confessed to him that she loved Shin Yu very much. Yi Jong asked why she was avoiding him. Hongjo believed that Shin Yu's illness was her fault, and that only by staying away could he get better. Hearing this, Yi Jong said that if that were true, and if he were Shin Yu, he wouldn't want her to leave. The next day, Shin Yu's assistant noticed red liquid dripping while watering the plants. Upon closer inspection, Shin Yu discovered his shirt and a pair of gloves hidden inside. He rushed to Shin Yu's room and learned that she had left the gloves behind when she met Na-yeon. Without hesitation, he went to confront Na-yeon. She feigned ignorance, but when Shin Yu presented all the evidence, she finally confessed. Before leaving, Shin Yu warned her to stay away from Hongjo. While walking with the director, Yi Jong happened to see a stranger lurking around Hongjo's house. Worried something might happen, he called Shin Yu. At that moment, the orchard owner grabbed Hongjo by the collar from outside. Just as the police and Shin Yu arrived, the man quickly fled. Concerned that something might happen again, Shin Yu took her to his house for safety. In the parking lot, he noticed a strange car. Feeling uneasy, he took Hongjo to his apartment. knowing she was still shaken by the previous incident. He embraced her to comfort her, then left the room and went down to the parking lot to check the suspicious car. He received a call from the orchard owner and, suddenly worried about Hongzhou, rushed back to his apartment. Hearing a strange noise outside, Hongzhou opened the door to investigate. She froze when she saw Xin Yu slumped in a pool of blood. At the hospital, watching him being taken into the emergency room, everything inside her nearly collapsed. All she wanted was to see Xin Yu safe. While unconscious, Xin Yu remembered his past life. In that time, he was the son of a district governor, while Hongzhou was a humble shaman. They shared a beautiful love that many envied. However, due to her low social status, his father wanted him to marry the daughter of a high-ranking official. Unwilling to go through with the arranged marriage, Xin Yu went to see Hongzhou to propose they elope. Fearing the repercussions his father's influence would have on her family, she was forced to refuse. Unable to persuade his beloved, Xin Yu accepted his fate and became a royal guard in the palace. Hongzhou continued her work as a shaman. One day, a court lady of the royal concubine summoned Hongzhou to the palace. She wanted Hongzhou to use a spell so she could bear a son. To protect herself, Hongzhou had to obey. While leaving the palace to gather medicinal herbs, Xin Yu, standing guard, happened to see her. Confronting her, he reproached her for not leaving with him. Unable to hide her emotions any longer, Hongzhou revealed the truth. Learning of the injustices and sorrows she had endured, he embraced her tightly. From that day on, they rekindled their romance. Some time later, the royal concubine gave birth to a son. Wanting her son to become the crown prince, she demanded that Hongzhou cast a spell to make the current crown prince fall ill. If she refused, Xin Yu would pay the price. Faced with her threats, Hongzhou had no choice but to comply. The crown prince suddenly fell gravely ill. The emperor, learning of Hongzhou's spell, ordered her arrest. When Hongzhou was brought before him, the emperor tortured her to confess her actions. However, she declared that she was not the culprit, but that he was the one who had harmed the prince. He knew who had cast the spell but was concealing it. Enraged, he grabbed his sword, intending to behead her to keep the secret hidden. But before he could do so, Hongzhou cast a curse. If the one who stopped her heart lived, their entire family line, generation after generation, would suffer short lifespans, and eventually, the entire family would be destroyed. Wary of the curse, he ordered the guards to imprison her in a well. Learning of Hongzhou's imprisonment, Xin Yu snuck into the palace that night and rescued her. He took her to a house far from the palace. Looking at her wounds, his heart felt like it was being cut 1,000 times. Xin Yu wanted to use Hongzhou's last spellbook to bargain for their freedom, reminding her of the royal concubine's promise. However, Hongzhou refused. The next morning, Hongzhou woke up and discovered the wooden box was missing. Xin Yu had taken it and gone to the royal concubine. On his way, he was pursued and attacked by the emperor's guards. Left with no choice, he fought them single-handedly. Some guards went to the house to capture Hongzhou, but she had already left. Not far from the house, they found her. No one dared to kill her for fear of the curse, but then Xin Yu arrived, and they wanted him to do it. He silently approached and stabbed her in the stomach. Seeing her beloved harm her, her heart filled with anguish. She thought Xin Yu had tricked her to get the book, but he knew they would brutally execute her by being drawn and quartered if they took her back. Wanting her body to remain intact, he accepted the curse. He wished that in their next life, they would be happy together forever. Hongzhou's blood-stained hand caressed him one last time before she slowly slipped away. Back in the present, Xin Yu had survived the critical stage. The police gave Hongzhou a watch with a built-in GPS tracker, fearing the attacker might seek revenge. Xin Yu's parents rushed to the hospital upon hearing the news. Faced with his father's worried barrage of questions, a remorseful Hongzhou could only lower her head and apologize. The next day, she decided to return to her hometown. Yi Zhong tried to convince her to stay, offering to quit his job to protect her, but she didn't want him to make such a sacrifice. Moreover, she believed that her proximity to Xin Yu would only put him in more danger. She asked Yi Zhong to keep her updated on Xin Yu's condition so she could have peace of mind. Upon waking up, the only person Xin Yu thought of was Hongzhou. His father reproached him for mentioning her first. Xin Yu wanted to call her, but his parents wouldn't allow it, given his fragile state. Since leaving the city and returning home, Hongzhou constantly received updates on Xin Yu's condition from Yi Zhong. Xin Yu was eventually discharged and wanted to return to work. Knowing they couldn't stop him, but worried for his safety, his parents hired bodyguards. On the rooftop, Xin Yu found Yi Zhong updating Hongzhou about his condition. He asked Yi Zhong where she was living, but Yi Zhong refused to tell him. Knowing that Hongzhou left because of him, Xin Yu pleaded to know her whereabouts. Sitting in her room, listening to Xin Yu's voicemails, Hongzhou felt a whirlwind of emotions, sadness, longing, and confusion, which brought her to tears. Then, a threatening message from the orchard owner shattered her fragile peace. Panicked, she rushed to find Xin Yu. Upon meeting, they couldn't hide their emotions and embraced tightly. Xin Yu placed her hand on his cheek, and images of the past flashed before him. She gradually understood everything that happened in their previous life. Their destiny, their fate, was to be together. Xin Yu took her back to his place. The days of sadness after their separation were now replaced by sweet, joyful moments together. The next morning, Xin Yu was startled by the arrival of his parents. Hongzhou, just waking up, hurriedly searched for a place to hide. Concerned about Xin Yu's still recovering health, his father was displeased that she had spent the night in his room. His mother tried to smooth things over and ease the tension, but his father remained firmly against their relationship. With no other choice, Xin Yu took Hongzhou and left. Seeing them leave, his mother scolded her husband for his behavior. However, he disapproved of Hongzhou, believing their social statuses were incompatible, citing their own marriage as evidence. Hearing this, his wife felt hurt and disappointed, and asked for a divorce. Meanwhile, at the office, things were in a commotion. Mr. Gum's ex-girlfriend had arrived looking for team leader Ma. What seemed like a business visit quickly turned into a jealous confrontation over her boyfriend. Seeing their argument escalate, Mr. Gum rushed to intervene, but his ex-girlfriend slapped him, sending him sprawling to the floor. Witnessing this, team leader Ma jumped in to defend him, resulting in a brawl. Their colleagues watched in stunned silence as the two women fought over Mr. Gum, only then realizing that their team leader and manager were in a relationship. The next day, Hongzhou returned to work, and the atmosphere was noticeably different. Instead of being ostracized, she was met with concern and support, much to her delight. Xin Yu's return to the office was met with an enthusiastic hug from his assistant. Shortly after, Yi Zhong arrived and informed Xin Yu that the mayor wanted him to resign, but Xin Yu refused. Xin Yu's father was furious upon finding his wife's divorce papers. He picked up the phone to call her, but his friend advised against it. He rushed home to find his wife gone, and his calls went unanswered. He then called Xin Yu, who, sensing something was wrong, asked his father what happened. His father, however, hid the truth about their marital issues and hung up. Xin Yu then called his mother, who confided in him about the divorce, explaining that she hadn't told him sooner for fear of upsetting him. Yi Zhong had a meeting with the chairman of Haum Corporation. Uninterested in small talk, Yi Zhong was presented with a suitcase full of cash as a thank you for securing the Anju contract. Yi Zhong refused, fearing the legal repercussions, claiming that his actions were influenced by the mayor. Seeing his refusal, the chairman, no longer hiding his ambition, expressed his distrust in the mayor and proposed that Yi Zhong become his right-hand man. After concluding his meeting with Yi Zhong, the chairman went to see Xin Yu. He gloated about snatching the contract from Xin Yu's father's company and even taunted him about being stabbed because of his girlfriend. Xin Yu was enraged by these insults. The chairman seemed to relish his anger, achieving his intended effect. Before leaving, he made sure to inform Xin Yu that he had secured the necessary influence to oppose him. Learning that his father's company's construction project in Anju had been halted, Xin Yu called his father, who, not wanting to worry his son, lied and said everything was fine. However, the bank was already threatening to withdraw their investment from his company. Back at his office, Yi Zhong was surprised to find Xin Yu looking through his files. Xin Yu confronted him, asking if he was behind the transfer of his land rights to another company. Yi Zhong readily admitted his actions, much to Xin Yu's surprise. He hadn't expected him to be so unscrupulous. Yi Zhong even remarked that things would become increasingly interesting. In the dining room, everyone was curious about the absence of team leader Gum. They questioned manager Ma, who, to everyone's astonishment, announced that they had broken up. Suddenly, team leader Gum appeared, impeccably dressed in a suit and carrying a bouquet of flowers. Sensing something was amiss, manager Ma, slightly anxious, approached him. He knelt down and proposed marriage, leaving her flustered by his public gesture in front of dozens of colleagues. Their excited cheers embarrassed her, and she fled the scene. Meanwhile, Shin Yu waited for Hong Jo outside the bank. Upon seeing her, he informed her that his mother wanted to invite her to dinner. Upon arriving, Hong Jo thoughtfully presented his mother with a gift, which she received with great delight. Seeing the easy rapport between his mother and Hong Jo, Shin Yu seemed very pleased. Since his wife's departure, work had been difficult, and his father had become a heavy drinker. Upon returning home and seeing her drunken husband, she felt a pang of sympathy. He apologized for his hurtful words and pleaded for her forgiveness. She encouraged him to rebuild the company and accepted his apology. That evening, at a class reunion attended by Na Yeon and Hong Jo, Na Yeon publicly vilified Hong Jo as a boyfriend stealer. However, Hong Jo was no longer the timid girl who would passively accept such accusations. She had come to expose Na Yeon's true character. Hong Jo recounted how Na Yeon had forced Min Ho to forcibly kiss her in the library, secretly recording the incident and then spreading false rumors the next day that Hong Jo had stolen her boyfriend. Na Yeon smugly asserted her innocence, claiming a lack of evidence. However, she boasted that a witness was present but remained silent, that witness being Min Ho, who sat among them. Humiliated, Na Yeon threw her drink at Hong Jo. Remaining calm, Hong Jo quietly reminded her of the chair Na Yeon had soiled in the past, preventing her from sitting there. Now, however, Hong Jo could sit whenever she pleased, thanks to Shin Yu. Hong Jo walked away triumphantly, leaving Na Yeon furious. Waiting outside, Shin Yu greeted Hong Jo with flowers. Noticing her soiled clothing, he inquired about the cause. Hong Jo readily explained her altercation with Na Yeon. Shin Yu excitedly asked if she had won, and Hong Jo smiled, feeling relieved that, for once, she hadn't been bullied. Shin Yu was proud of her, and they left together. Back in his apartment, Shin Yu presented her with a matching pair of necklaces. Hong Jo was overjoyed. Shin Yu was captivated by Hong Jo wearing his shirt and, unable to contain himself, embraced and kissed her. They spent a passionate night together. The next morning, before they awoke, Mrs. Jang called. She said she had dreamed of holding a granddaughter. Shin Yu was taken aback. She wanted to see Hong Jo, but he lied, claiming she wasn't there. However, it seems Mrs. Jang was not easily fooled. The following day, Hong Jo was checking on something in the park when an elderly man approached, wanting to speak privately. Knowing him, Hong Jo asked her bodyguard to leave temporarily. Shortly after, Shin Yu received a call reporting Hong Jo missing. The police investigation suggested she might be on Onju Mountain, prompting a frantic search. Hong Jo was kidnapped by the orchard owner and taken to a cave in the mountains. As he was about to undress her, he realized she was awake. Unafraid, Hong Jo revealed she knew his intentions, having learned everything from the old man. Surprised, the orchard owner questioned why she had willingly followed him. Calmly, Hong Jo replied that she wanted to catch him. Holding a set of clothes, he demanded she wear them for a wedding ceremony. Hong Jo asked him to leave so she could change, but realizing her intent, he threatened to do it himself. Remembering the pepper spray in her pocket, she sprayed him and escaped. The police and Shin Yu arrived and split up to search for her. The orchard owner pursued Hong Jo, who, from behind, struck him with a branch. He seemed unfazed, and as they struggled, they tumbled down a slope. The orchard owner recaptured her. The police found the cave and called Shin Yu, but Hong Jo was gone. Sensing something, Shin Yu rushed off, followed by the police. Under the full moon, the orchard owner forced poison down Hong Jo's throat. Her consciousness faded, replaced by visions of her past life. As he prepared for his ritual, the police discovered them. He cut the rope binding him to Hong Jo and fled, only to be apprehended a few steps later. Shin Yu reached Hong Jo's unconscious body, devastated. He called her name, but she didn't wake. Overwhelmed by the fear of losing her, he sobbed, holding her close. At the hospital, his anxiety remained, haunted by the fear of losing her again like in their past life. His tears wouldn't stop. The police had enough evidence to charge the orchard owner with his wife's murder, which he confessed to. Upon mentioning Hong Jo, believing her dead, he laughed triumphantly. Shin Yu's relief was immense when Hong Jo awoke. though the terror of the ordeal lingered. His parents visited the hospital. His mother, fond of Hongzhou, encouraged her to recover quickly so she could continue dating her son. Hongzhou felt warmed by her kindness. However, Xin Yu's father still disapproved of their relationship, wanting his son to be with someone from a peaceful background, not someone entangled in so much trouble. Hongzhou bravely expressed her love for Xin Yu and asked her father to view her positively. Xin Yu turned to his father and asked if Mrs. Jiang had called. She had foreseen good news. They were expecting a daughter. His mother was thrilled at the prospect of becoming a grandmother. His father, secretly delighted, tried to contain his emotions. After her discharge, Hongzhou was pampered like a princess by Xin Yu. The once cold and arrogant CEO now busied himself with cooking and caring for her. The next day, the entire company was abuzz after a video exposing Na Yon's true nature was posted online. The uploader was Min Ho, apologizing for his past actions towards Hongzhou. Xin Yu submitted his resignation to the chairman, who refused it, fearing Xin Yu would turn against him. Seeing Xin Yu's determination to leave, the chairman flew into a rage and threatened him. However, nothing could sway Xin Yu's decision. Na Yon, meanwhile, met with her lover from Helm Corporation to discuss marriage, only to have him reveal his true colors. He was only interested in her because she was Xin Yu's ex. Yi Zhong approached Xin Yu, asking him to be his lawyer if he were to be sued. Frustrated by the viral video, Na Yon confronted Hongzhou at her home, accusing her of setting her up that night. Hongzhou admitted she considered it, but didn't go through with it. It was Min Ho's guilt that led him to post the video. Na Yon then accused Hongzhou of stealing Xin Yu. Hongzhou responded that, whether she believed it or not, they were destined to be together. Shortly after, the police arrived and arrested Na Yon for aiding the orchard owner, surprising Hongzhou. The Helm Corporation and the mayor were put on trial regarding the Anju development. Xin Yu acted as Yi Zhong's lawyer. In court, Yi Zhong testified that he had intended to expose them all along, and the bribe money was merely evidence for his accusations. Mr. Gong and team leader Ma held their wedding, attended by joyful employees and colleagues. Hongzhou's friends even performed a celebratory song and dance. Hongzhou informed Xin Yu of Yi Zhong's impending departure and expressed her uncertainty about who would move into the first-floor apartment. Xin Yu playfully replied that as long as the new tenant wasn't single, it was fine. When Hongzhou inquired about Xin Yu's health, he revealed that the doctors had given him a clean bill of health. Much to her delighted surprise, she ran off to buy cotton candy in celebration. The next day, Yi Zhong moved out, bidding farewell to Hongzhou. He expressed his regret for not accepting her confession earlier. Meanwhile, Xin Yu, wanting to surprise Hongzhou, moved into the first-floor apartment himself. Overjoyed, Hongzhou kissed him. Later, their parents and Mrs. Jiang visited. During dinner, Mrs. Jiang urged them to get married soon. Xin Yu chose a beach as the location for his proposal, fulfilling Hongzhou's wish to have her father present in spirit. They decided to return the wooden box and the book to where they found them. After enduring centuries of separation and hardship, they finally fulfilled their 300-year-old wish, living the life they had always dreamed of.